Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good morning to Madam ASLINA. Today we will present about one topic which is the Rana Plaza accident, and my team members consist of Adam WAFIQ, Adam Zakaria, Haifaa Zakaria, BATRISYIA IZZATI, SHAWN and also me AINON AFIQAH. So I will pass to the next presenter.
My name is Shawn and I'm going to present about the introduction of accident investigation. So for the accident investigation is the process to determine the root cause of the accident of job injuries and property damage in order to prevent from happening. So the prime objective for the accident investigation is prevention for the accident. So to explain why and how the accident happened, investigators must collect information on the events that took place before and during the event of the accident. So there are also requirements for company health and safety programs regarding accident investigation. And lastly is to investigate lost time injuries where all injuries requiring medical aid and all accidents with more than money property, accidents with potential for serious injury or major financial loss. So the theories of accident for the investigation is three. First is domino theory. It was developed by Herbert W. Heinz in the 1930s. So the chain of the events are connected, and each of them are depend on processing the factors such as environment and individual mistakes. So the second is multi-cohesion theory. So it is an outgrowth of domino theory, but it has a single accident that contribute to many factors that can lead to accident. So the last one is loss cohesion model theory. So loss cohesion model is known as bird modified domino theory model. So it is because the root cause lack of control that lead to basic accident. So there are many factors to be prevented for the accident. Next is investigation procedure. So the first is to start up a planning investigation and review the information from the employees and manager. So next is preparation for the incident to identify who is the authority regarding to the incident that happened. So follow up by notification procedure. The investigation team must notify the management after the accident occurs and initiate the person that is involved. So next is visiting the scene and identify the cause of the incident. So gather all the information and plan a remedial action towards the site. So lastly, write a report and notify back to the management and DOSH. That's all for me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good afternoon Madam ASLINA. My name is BATRISYIA IZZATI binti MUHAMAD NASHRUN, and I will explain about the importance of accident investigation. First of all, we need to know accident. What is accident? Accident is an avoidable event or an unexpected event that happen at the workplace, such as accident, incident, and near miss. From that event, it can cause to loss, physical injuries or property damage towards employee and also employer. From that situation, we need to conduct an investigation at the workplace. There are many benefits that we can get from conduct an investigation, such as we can identify hazard in our operation and our weakness in our safety program. From that, we can do a renovation in our safety programs to make a better safe program towards our employee. After that, we can identify the immediate cause of each accident. For example, unsafe act and unsafe condition. Furthermore, we need to know what the definition of unsafe act and unsafe condition. Unsafe act is any activity that has been done by an irresponsible employee at the workplace. Meanwhile, unsafe condition can be created in the workplace as a result of equipment failure, exposure to dangerous conditions without suitable protection, or the presence of unhealthy condition that can result in a hazardous environment towards the employee. For example, unsafe act is the situation where an employee that not wearing safety harness while working at height. Furthermore, or meanwhile, for the example for unsafe condition is the inspection forklift suddenly have an engine failure. Okay, and after that, the second important is to identify the basic cause of the accident. The main or the basic cause that result in hazard or risk to an employee and highly cause to accident to occur. If there are corrective measures, it can result in long-term preventative measures of similar accident. For example, the basic cause of accident is slip, trips, and fall. There are many statistics that happen at the workplace because of slip, trips, and fall. I will give you an example of our situation as for the slip, trips, and falls. Okay, the situation is an employee that trips and fall because of oily floor in the warehouse. If there are housekeeping or inspection of equipment that have oil leakage, the similar accident can be avoided. For example, I give you an example of basic cause. Okay, basic cause of accident. There are statistics for the slip, trips, and fall have a high statistic that accident that have occurred in the workplace. For example, an employee that trips and fall because of oily floor in the warehouse. If there are housekeeping or inspection of equipment that have oil leakage, the similar accident can be avoided. Okay, and after that, the third important of accident investigation is to identify the loss of control of an accident. According to the loss causation model by Frank E. Bird, the loss of control happened because of managerial error. The example of losses of control are lack of procedure, inadequate procedure, and inadequate compliance to follow the correct procedure. Every management have a very high responsible to conduct safety training or toolbox talks towards their employee to make them more aware and understand about safety and health at the workplace. And lastly, the importance of accident investigation is we can identify the corrective measures that are suitable with an incident that happened. The control measures are taken to prevent or reduce the frequency of accident. The recognizing and defining a problem, containing the problem, determining its cause, and taking appropriate action to prevent it from happening again are all the examples of corrective actions. For example, every hazardous machinery at the factory or the industry need to have a safeguarding, as it is to prevent from employee getting their hand in operated machine. Because while working, there are many unexpected event or unexpected situation that can happen and cause to accident. Like the picture below, an employee accidentally had his hand under operated machine. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you, and I will pass to the next person.
Okay, Assalamualaikum. My name is Zachary bin Muhammad FAIZAL, and today I shall be explaining on the company background of Rana Plaza. So to start, the building, Rana Plaza, was owned by Sohail Rana, allegedly a member of the local unit of Jubo League, the youth wing of Bangladesh Awami League, the political party in power. It hosted a variety of different garment companies with a total workforce of roughly 5,000 workers, as well as various shops and a bank. It was also poorly constructed and located on a drain swamp where it was built in 2006 as a 4-story building. The building has around 100 small shops and a bank on the first and second floors. The original structure lacked the necessary permissions, and the floors added afterwards were also illegal. At the time of the collapse, the incident, a ninth level was being built. All of this went undetected or ignored by the Western companies that audited the factories on a regular basis. To continue, the upper 4 floors were built without a permit, according to Ali Ahmed Khan, the chief of Bangladesh Fire Service and Civil Defense. The architect of Rana Plaza, Masood Reza, also stated the structure was designed for shops and offices, but not manufacturers. Other architects emphasized that the danger of putting factories inside a structure built only for stores and offices, warning that the structure might not be able to withstand the weight and vibration of heavy machinery. Five garment manufacturers operated in Rana Plaza, producing for major European and North American shops. The garment factories on the 3rd through 8th floors were New Wave style, New Wave bottom, Phantom Appeals, Phantom Tag, and Ether Tags. These factories manufactured appeal for brands including Benton, Prada, Gucci, Versace, and so others. And additional info, Walmart is also was also manufactured in the building as well. So that's all by me. Thank you very much. I shall pass to the next presenter.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is AINON BINTI AZMAN. So today I will talk about the finding of investigation, which is the chronology of Rana Plaza accident. Actually, the building started to show signs of collapse on 23 April 2013 when the large structural cracks were discovered in the Rana Plaza building. Because of that, the shops and the bank on the lower floors were immediately closed. On the next day, 24 April, the Rana Plaza building came crashing down and caused 1,134 people killed and thousands more injured. Actually, the warning to avoid using the building after the cracks appear were ignored by the garment factory owner, Sohail Rana, on the upper floors. The garment workers were ordered to return to work the following day, but many workers told the management that they did not want to enter the building because of the deep cracks. But due to the management pressure, on Wednesday, 24 April, thousands of workers went to work again at their garment factories located in the cracked Rana Plaza building. And only hours later, the electric power of the building was cut off, the cracks widened, and concrete fell onto the workers sewing, buttoning, and fastening clothes. The building collapsed at about 8:57 in the morning, and it took less than 90 seconds for the 8-story building to collapse and kill the workers inside the building, including the rescue workers and nearly 2,600 total of the workers that were injured. This resulted in many of the survivors had been trapped under tons of rubble and machinery for hours or even days before they could be rescued, sometimes only by amputating limbs.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Haifaa binti Zakaria. Today I'll be presenting about factor caused to the accident involving Rana Plaza. There is two aspects in this factor, which is engineering failure and also administration failure. For the first point, which is the Rana Plaza was built on a swampy ground, also known as fill-in pond, which is the core foundation of the building itself. For the second point that was highlighted in this slide, which is the building was actually a 9-storage building, 9-floor building, and the building owner Muhammad Rana actually only obtained permit to build 5-floor building structure. Therefore, he made an immoral act by adding illegal extension floor, which consists of 3 stories were built illegally without any permit. And as I mentioned, there is 9 floors in this building, as the 9th floor was actually under construction. The 4th floor were built around 2006 until 2007 without any permission. And for the other 4 floor, for 5 until 8 were actually built on 2008 until 2012, were built without any supporting wall, which is very important. For the third point is actually the building itself were built by using a low grade or poor construction material. As the building owner, Muhammad Rana, using a low quality construction building material such as iron rods and cement in order to lower the cost by gaining more profit. By using a higher quality grade of construction material is very important because it's able to increase the building structure endurance to hazardous situation conditions such as exposed to adverse weather, hazard created by work activities such as noise, vibration. It was actually very important. For the last part is there is actually 5 clothing factory that was occupied at the top 5 floor, which consists of the famous one, which is Walmart, the Children Place, and Primark. Okay. They claim they are actually producing a clothes for the company by the government factory actually placed a massive heavy equipment which created a massive vibration, which was actually operated from the floor ground, and it was actually used by the government factory itself. They were placed in the building, inside the building, without considering any factors such as the building endurance toward the weight and the vibration created from the machinery, which can cause the building to reach its limit and resulting to crack building up around the walls at the building itself, which can really endanger the life of the government worker and also the factory management itself. As for the next slide is about administration failure. Is actually focusing on immoral and irresponsible act performed by the government factory owner itself. There were their ability and correspond toward the sign or the warning, such as the crack at the wall of the building, which can lead to the building collapse, which sacrifice thousands of lives. Apart from it, management system and the government factory that violate the labor standard laws, such as giving minimum wages to the worker and also threatening their life by coming back to return to work even after the crack, even after an appearance of crack on the building of Rana, which only safety inspection performed after few weeks of complaints were made by the worker in order for them to evacuate the worker from the danger. As we can conclude from the action performed by the employee and the management of the factory, we can state that they have not and they will not value any human right in order for them to gain profit, which even the appearance of crack, they're actually forcing the worker to proceed the work by filling in the order from the Walmart company to gain bigger profit from it. As after the safety inspection performed, the lower floor, which is banks, shops, and also apartments, were actually evacuated from the building, but the government worker actually were forced and threatened by the management and the owner, which is known as the authority of the government factory, to return to work. And if they disobey, they will cut their wages and also be fired from the work. And most of the workers are actually women that suffer the most during the accident. The owner of the factory decided the act irrational, as they were all aware of the risk bestowed physically on the building, as I stated, an appearance of crack several weeks, which appears several weeks, but there is no safety precaution taken, and we can conclude that the government factory management has violated a handful of law-stated labor standards, such as human rights of the worker. Based on the picture on the right, Rana separately faced 4 other charges, including murder, in relation to 2013 building collapse. That's all for me. Thank you very much.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi, my name is ROSLI. Today I would like to do one presentation about preventative measures or control measures that can be taken by one responsible officer in a building. In this slide, I would like to explain about the control measure that we use for this report about Rana Plaza incident. There is 5 control measures that I use in this slide, such as number 1 is elimination control. Second is substitution control. Number 3 is engineering control. Next is the administration control. And the last one was personal protective equipment or PPE. I would like to go to the first point of this presentation, which is elimination control. For the elimination control, this elimination control refers to the management of the building. The management should eliminate the unsuitable measures on the building to avoid the same case like in Rana Plaza incident from happen in the future. The responsible officer, such as like safety and health officer, required to identify the main procedure that would not be necessary in a building safety procedure. For example, like the extreme decoration is the main problem or hazard that be identified by the responsible officer and need to be removed soon as possible because the extreme decoration has a high potential to interfere the rescue team to performing their duties. They eliminate the heavy equipment or machine used in a building where the structure of the building could not handle to reduce the vibration impact. Next control measure is the substitution control, which is the responsible officer in the building, like safety and health officer, required to do major update on every safety system in the building. The safety system in a building, such as like fire alarm, has not functioned well. The fire alarm required to be maintained or better. The responsible officer need to be replaced with the better or new fire alarm to reduce the risk of accident happen in building. So the selection of the building materials also important. The replace of poor building material with the high quality building material will prevent any type of crack or problem in a building, and it helps to avoid the accident from happen in the future. Next is the engineering control, which is the control measure in a safety building procedure required to update the safety procedure and safety equipment during the times given, which is they have a schedule that need to be followed, and the responsible officer required to provide a modification on system to provide the best safety on every occupant in the building. The responsible officer, which is I put again, a safety and health officer in a building required to modify the best method for a safety occupant, for a safety of the occupant in a building, such as the modification on the exit way, which will provide with a water sparkle to avoid the fire from being spread to the outside of the building in case the building was on fire or happen in a collapse or crack or anything that could cause a problem for the building. So this is the example that we put in this slide, which is the installation of Eco Barrier H2. It's helped to absorb the noise at the construction site. It's durable and allowed construction site to stay open later than normal and resulting in improved timescale and cost. Next was the administration control, which is the responsible like safety and health officer required to manage the suitable period of maintenance to avoid the same accident like Rana Plaza from happen in the future. The implementation of the establish of a safety committee for a factory manufacturing companies. Implement an annual workplace safety training planning counseling to all workers in the company. Introduced with the management instruction and guideline to identify the hazard, report and handle in case the incident happened in the workplace. The employee is responsible to providing a job rotation such as to employee in order to reduce the ergonomic hazard or the ASLINA problem that refer to the employee, such as psychosocial hazard happen to the employee if it's happened in an employee at the workplace. Others is the implementation of the signage to alert and create awareness among the workers toward the hazard risk existing in a workplace. Employee must comply with the Labour Standard Act or LSA, which prescribe to ensure that there's no discrimination issue of a worker at the workplace. The employer must ensure each floor in the building has a first aid kit, and worker required to train themselves to provide the immediate first act of first aid care to the injured person. So the last one is the personal protective equipment, which is PP. Every responsible staff or officer, like safety and health officer, required to prepare a suitable personal protective equipment or PPE and fire safety equipment as a prevention method in the event of any type of accident that could have a high possibility to happen in one building. For example, for the equipment is the responsible officer required to provide all the protective equipment such as a fire extinguisher, fire door or exit door, fire alarm siren, smoke detector, or other equipment that could bring a safety for the occupant in a building. Every protective equipment or fire safety equipment that have in a building, it's really helped the occupant to prevent any type of harmful accident that happen in the building. So the personal protective equipment was my last slide, and that's all by me. Thank you and Assalamualaikum.